Common Council of the City of Connersville is now in session. Please rise. Councilman Nobby, lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if everyone would please silence their phone. We'll have an invocation by Reverend Richie Ware.
We bow our heads for a moment of prayer. Heavenly Father, we ask for direction for this council, Father, and we send out prayer requests for the EMS people who were in the accident this past week. Father, that you would protect them and guide them. You would protect our community and protect their families, Father, and give them peace. Father, I pray for each individual whose family who's on this board, Father, who's doing this for our community. Father, I ask, God, that you would open up opportunities for us in our community. You would continue to guide us and guide these great men and women as they make the decision, as we move forth in your will and your way. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you,
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you. Okay, again, if everybody silence their phones. I'd like to welcome everybody, and we'll go ahead and have roll call.
Councilman Nobby?
Here.
Councilwoman Montgomery?
Here.
Councilwoman Phillips? Councilman Nutty?
Present.
Councilwoman Durham?
Present.
Councilman Frank?
Here.
And Councilman Bishop.
Present.
Okay, we're all here for tonight. It's good news. Glad to have Gabe back.
Hey.
Okay, you have the minutes of the last meeting of July 2nd. Is there any additions or corrections? If not, I'll entertain a motion to pass them as presented. We have a motion to second, pass the minutes of July 2nd. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, thank you. Go on down to 3, new business. Shelley, would you like to explain these, please?
Okay, resolution 2018-45 is moving $1,129.95 to reimburse telephone and $1,030 also for telephone and $99.95 for uniforms for first aid. And 201846 is a check that we received from TRICARE for $361.92 and will be reimbursing first aid. And an EFT from the Department of Justice of $860 and reimbursing bulletproof vests with that.
Mr. Mayor, I move to accept resolution 2018-45, 46, and 47.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to pass resolutions 2018 45, 46, and 47. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. Mike, this here is the master utility plan.
Yes, I think Neil's here from Mike Klein Peter to talk about it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. I am Neil Brook with Klein Peter Consulting Group, and we are here to present the final draft of the master utility plan that was paid for by the grant through the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs. I would like to introduce Ashley Getz, who will discuss the plan.
All right. Neil mentioned we prepared a 3-utility study with a planning grant from Office of Community and Rural Affairs. That report was comprised of 7 sections. First was project planning. We looked at the location of the utilities, the environmental resources in the city, and the population trends. And then we reviewed the existing facilities. So for water, that's a treatment and distribution system. For wastewater, collection and treatment system. And for stormwater, you have a collection system and a long-term control plan for your combined sewer system. We looked at the need for projects in 4 different categories: health, sanitation, and security, system operation and maintenance, aging infrastructure and reasonable growth. And we looked at alternatives to improve the utilities. For water, we looked at various levels of rehabilitation for your 9th Street and Park Road water treatment plants. And we also looked at water main rehab, so replacing old lines that were past the end of their useful life. For wastewater, we looked at replacing the paint company lift station, replacing the Water Street lift station, the Babe Ruth Sports Complex stormwater separation, and improvements at the wastewater treatment plant, which I'll talk more about in the second public hearing of the evening. And then for stormwater, we reviewed the existing long-term control plan and an alternative to that, and then a Memorial Drive storm sewer project. So in reviewing those alternatives, we did a life cycle cost analysis and also considered non-monetary factors for each alternative. Came up with proposed projects, which were for water distribution system rehabilitation, 5,000 feet of water main rehabilitation on 10th Street, 30th Street, and UB Drive. And that would address a water loss issue in the city, and that was a $1.2 million project. For wastewater, the selected project was the paint company lift station project, which is to construct a new 1 million gallon per day lift station on the east side of the river and install a new force main under the river. And that would replace a lift station that is 60 years old, past the end of its useful life, and has a lot of issues. And that's a $1.4 million project. And then the stormwater project was a Memorial Drive storm sewer project, which was $1.65 million. And then we had to have this public hearing, and we'll open up to questions.
Well, let me go ahead and close the meeting and open it up for the public hearing. Is there anyone here that'd like to speak on the master utility plan study, public hearing? Does anybody like to speak to it? Anyone? If not, I'll close the public hearing and go on down to resolutions 2018-48. You want to speak to that? Or you just did?
Is that the
That's just the
acceptance
the
resolution?
acceptance resolution.
Yeah, that's just a resolution to accept the study.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I move to accept resolution 2018-48.
You have a motion and a second to pass resolution 2018-48. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. Now go on down to item F, wastewater preliminary engineering report. Is that you too?
Yes.
Come on up.
So Strand also prepared a preliminary engineering report looking at the wastewater treatment plant specifically and upgrades that are needed there. The plant was constructed in the 1950s, and the last major upgrade was in the 1970s. So all of that equipment at the plant is getting pretty old. It's reaching the end of its useful life. So it serves the city of Connersville and Everton and Milton. And it's located, if you've never been there, down on State Road 121 south of town. The city is seeking state revolving fund loan to do some improvements at the plant. So I'll just go through what we looked at in the PER and what we're looking to move forward with. So the current situation, some issues that are at the plant. I mentioned that a lot of the equipment is at the end of its useful life, so we need to plan for the replacement of that. Specifically, there's some influent channel grinders that plug up frequently and fail, and then they grind solids and pass them through the plant instead of removing them and sending them to a landfill or something like that. And then recently, all the piping inside one of the sludge digesters has broken, and so the city needs to do something to fix that. So that was part of this project. We had to look at population It's not increasing for the area, so no capacity upgrade is needed, but we're also not decreasing the capacity in case something does come in and needs that capacity. We evaluated alternatives for each unit process at the plant, but this loan is specifically for screening and digestion, so I'm just going to talk about those for now. We did a present worth analysis that took into account capital costs and operating costs for the next 20 years and non-monetary factors as well. For screening, we looked at no action, so continuing with grinders that aren't working very well. One option was to replace the channel grinders, and then the other option was to replace those with a mechanical fine screen, so that actually takes all the trash out of the wastewater. And then for the sludge digestion, we looked at no action. Replacing all the equipments there, which is anaerobic digestion. It has a lot of equipment like gas handling, it produces methane. It's a complicated process. And then we looked at converting to aerobic digestion, which is a simpler process with less equipment. We had to do an environmental evaluation. Most of everything's on a previously disturbed area, so no issues there. The site is in a floodway, so we'll have to talk to DNR during design to make sure we're meeting all their requirements. And then the selected plan is to replace those channel grinders with mechanical fine screens, just to make the plant work a little better and take out all the trash that's currently passing through. And then convert to aerobic digestion, which I mentioned is a simpler process than anaerobic and was the cheaper alternative as well. And the total project cost for both of those things and engineering and everything is $5.4 million. And the city has applied for a loan through the State Revolving Fund, Indiana. And so the next steps would be we can take questions now, and then we can take written questions for the next 5 days if there's anyone else in the audience that wants to ask now or after. And then today, we would ask that you approve the resolution accepting the PER. And then there's a resolution that lets, I think, is it you, sign?
Yeah.
The authorized signatory just lets Mike sign for some of the loan paperwork.
Anybody got any questions for her?
What percent does the Connersville County Utilities plan to put in this compared to the amount of loan that they're receiving?
Well,
Or is it
Lot-
100%,
lot-
50%?
a lot depends on the paint company, what that's gonna end up being, because we're putting in about 800,000 into that. So we're looking, a range of numbers right now, 1 to 2 to put in.
1 to 2%?
I don't know the percentage, no, 1 to 2 million into this project ourselves.
Okay. And you're receiving how much?
5.4 would be the.
What happens if we don't get the revolving loan or the state loan?
Well, actually the project priority list where they rank you and decide who's fundable came out earlier this month, and you guys are on it, so.
And then what's our repayment, our interest rate?
The interest rate right now is 2%. Those can fluctuate, but it's been 2% for a while.
That's not a fixed, that's a floating interest.
It is fixed, but it doesn't get fixed until you actually close the loan, which isn't until we bid the project.
Okay.
So there's ways to, if it goes above 2%, there's ways to lower down to 2% by including green components in your project, which we're using variable frequency drives, so we think we could get it down if we need to.
And what's the length of the loan?
20 years.
Okay, let me go ahead and close this and open up for a public hearing. So I'll close the meeting, open up for a public hearing for a wastewater engineering report. Is there anybody out there got anything they'd like to speak about it? Yes.
What's the impact on the customers?
Oh, you got to come up here, Ken. You got to come up here and introduce yourself. You don't get to sit in the back, Kenny. I know a lot of people see you on Facebook.
My name's Kenny Wysite. I'm with Everton Regional Sewer District, representing them tonight. And my question is what the impact to customers is going to be. Most generally, whenever a project like this comes along, there starts to be increments of raises in rates and stuff to the customers and that. So that's I see that as one of the biggest questions for your customers, my customers.
Mike, you want to speak
Yeah,
on
I
it?
mean, at this point in time, we are looking at some type of rate increase. It'll be spread out over a few years. Ball is looking at our numbers through all these projects to give us a increase 3-4 years increments. But we don't really know at this point in time how big of an increase it could be. I hate to just throw out numbers without getting, I think the last increase we had was a 2% for 3 years, and that ended. So we're looking at like another 3-4 years increments of that type of percentage.
If I may, Mike, so the public understands, this is something that has to be done. We don't, I mean, this is
Yeah, I mean,
improvement. We have no choice in the matter.
The plant is past its,
Exactly.
getting past its time.
Do we still have blowers down there, 1954?
There might be a couple down there.
That's what I thought.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll verify that there's needed to be stuff done down there for a long time, because just talking with the operators down there and the people that run it and that, and what they have to deal with and everything, and some of the people who were mechanics down there. So, and it is much needed,
Yeah.
and it costs. Just trying to throw it out, because some people are going, that's going to be the biggest question I'm going. And the other thing is how it's going to impact us.
The Alder, Everton, and Milton.
Yeah.
And I'll be part of that study. I mean, we're very aware of our community and trying to do the best we can to get these things repaired. I mean, it's that or you're gonna pay later, one of the two, so.
Okay.
I mean, we're very appreciative. I mean, you know, and Mike and everybody there's been very helpful to us, and always has been, and they assist any way they can assist, and that's good. I like that. And but just need to ask some of those questions, or you can't give the answer right now. So
So a good majority of this, what we're doing is, we don't have a choice in the matter. It's long
Right.
overdue.
yeah,
Right, Mike?
Yeah,
Well,
but we
you're
still
doomed
want to
if
be
you do.
considerate of our increase and make sure that it covers everything that we need to do.
Okay.
so my other question is, during the phase-in of this, will that change how service is handled?
Shouldn't.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No.
Okay.
Everything
enough.
Everything be the same.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Kenny.
I got a
Is it-
question from Mike. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's a very big project. I mean, cost wise.
Right.
I mean, have we, just in general terms,
It is a big project cost wise, but for sewer plants it's not. I mean,
yeah,
Yeah.
in the realm, it's
Right.
really not. So have we, not for lack of anybody, you know, just not doing it in the past, but, I mean, have we waited until the point where it has to be replaced? I mean, if we'd have done things along the way, would this cost have been less, or?
well, all the engineers, structure engineers has come down to take a look at the plant. They've all said pretty much the same thing, that we've done, the past people has done a great job keeping that plant running. So there's nothing to blame of past.
Right. No, I wouldn't try to blame
Yeah.
her. So we basically saved money and we're basically living on borrowed time?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So that's been the same conclusion about all the different companies that's looked at it, that it's been well taken care of, is one of the cleanest places that they visit, and, it's time now to really take a look at the future.
Yeah, it's just an expensive thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else got anything to say on the public hearing? If not, I'll close the public hearing and go on down to can we take resolutions 28, 49, and 50 at the same time if we want to?
I have one more question.
Go ahead.
And Mike, how will this impact the future plans? Because I know there's a lot more things coming down the pike.
On the long-term control plan?
Yeah,
It's all part of that.
yeah, but will this fit into the
Yes.
finances okay?
Yeah, I mean, that's something, one part of the study that Strand did, how this is gonna affect our future with the long-term control plan and the wet weather treatment center and all that.
From
So,
a financial standpoint, does it put us on still stable footing or?
yeah, I think so right now. I mean, you can't foresee the future, but I don't think we're biting off more than we can chew on this. This money, the separation projects are done by stormwater money, so we won't be using that for this project. So we feel fairly comfortable with it all, how things stand right now.
Mr. Mayor, the Board of Works actually oversees Connors Utilities and all the utility departments there. Do they have any kind of voice they'd like for us to hear? Do they have any opinion? Anything they might want to share with us?
I mean, as far as the Board of Works?
Yes.
I think it's, like we've said, you can only, we've done rate increases over the past few years, but sometimes they've never been enough, and I think maybe we just barely kept up with inflation, but as far as everything else, engineering, construction, we're falling back on, so I think this is a good project.
And the timeline they're doing it on is outstanding. I reviewed it with Brad, and it's over a 4-year period. Is that right, Mike? So, pretty much,
The projects,
yes.
well, it depends on which projects we're.
It's gonna fluctuate, I understand, but it's not gonna hit us all at once.
No, it'll be spread out over time.
Right.
Sorry about that, yeah.
We have a member of.
Oh, Jim Barrett?
Jim Barrett, Board of Works. From a Board of Works standpoint and from a standpoint of being on the utility board for a number of years, these are projects that we have postponed and struggled with for a number of years. We are now at the point we have to do something. And this is what has to happen. And I'm sure as the Board of Works feels that we need to do it. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, on item G and H.
Mr. Mayor, I move to accept resolution 2018-48, 9, and 50.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass resolutions 2018, 49, and 50. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. Okay, going down to pending ordinance 3432, deletion of 3 2-hour parking signs. Carol, would you like to speak to this, please?
Good evening. The Daniels Girls Farmhouse Restaurant is going in at 6th and Central. On the side of their building, on the south side of their building, we have 2-hour parking spaces and they would like those removed.
Is it just the ones on that side of the building, or side of the road, or is there another set on the other side by
No,
the bank?
they're just on the north side of the road. So there's 3 in particular that they would like removed.
Are the ones on the north side of the old bank, are those 2-hour too, or are those?
They're only on the north side, so there aren't any.
None of them
I believe the ordinance is just,
for those 3?
the ordinance is just the north side of the road, basically.
I think they said there's gonna be a country store there too. so
Yes.
that's-
It's for cosmetic reasons, but also for their, just for their customers, so no one's limited to 2 hours in the restaurant.
Or in the country store. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I move to accept pending ordinance 3432.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass pending ordinance 3432 on first reading. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Is there a motion to suspend the rules and go to third and final?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and go to third and final. Is there any more discussion? Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Now we're going to need a motion for a third and final.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second on to pass pending ordinance 3432, deletion of 3 2-hour parking signs. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Okay, is there any old business to come before the council? Okay, if not, I'd like to go down to number 5, miscellaneous business. John, would you bring those pictures up? This is what happened here Sunday morning. This is this is the ambulance that rolled over on US 40. So we'll be probably trying to get a new one. I don't think that will run very well now.
Everyone's okay, or do we know?
Well, one of the EMTs have been sent home. The other one's still in the hospital. And I don't know when he's going to get out, but the patient they were carrying was taken by helicopter to, what's the hospital you said? Miami Valley, yes. I haven't heard anything more on them. That they're just lucky to be alive.
It's a blessing.
The ambulance did explode and catch fire. Okay, thank you, John. Okay, Troy, I'm gonna go down to public forum.
I have one thing
Oh.
on miscellaneous, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
I think I know the answer to this, Carol, but why was police overtime at $10,000 for last month? Is that vacations and training?
Vacations, and we're also have been short an officer.
I'm sorry?
We have been short an officer.
Okay, that's what I figured. Okay, thank you.
Are we now short 2?
We're now short one still because Joe Becker should be on the road sometime this week.
And then Craig just retired.
Yes.
Mr.
Thank
Mayor?
you.
Yes, sir.
I had a resident ask about the Park Road project, that you see the surveyor marks and road samples they've been taking. This resident opposes the proposed idea of changing it to single lane and bike lanes. So what they're wanting to know is what's their avenue to voice their opinion publicly in order to let
Well,
people know their opinion.
They will eventually have hearings on this. Carol, do you know what we're talking about as far, can you explain some of that on the, anyway, they're going to do a reconstruction of State Road 1 through town and everything. But Park Road is being structured 2 avenues to where they could put bike lanes, turning lanes. One of the things we've been hearing is slowing traffic down on that street. And this way they're building it, is this will slow the traffic down because you're having one northbound, one southbound. You're having a turn lane, and on each side is going to be either be a 5-foot or a 3-foot bike trail. So this is one of the things that we're working with them right now. But once they get more done, I think I believe they're going to have some public input.
So your answer to the question is, there is a public input time for this?
Yes,
Okay, because that's what they'll want to know.
yes.
Is there anything between now and then, Your Honor, that we can do, that we can possibly slow the traffic down on Park Road? It's becoming a drag strip, I'm telling you. It's so
Well-
dangerous that people are calling me
I
and,
drive an unmarked car with regular plates on it, and I rarely see anybody speeding. I mean, occasionally I'll see someone. I think that it's easy to get wrapped up in those, in some. I'm not saying that they don't, but I'm saying that I watch it almost every day. So, no one knows that it's a police car. You're gonna have speeders. But we can increase enforcement.
Seldom
it's just,
do I see it.
I'm getting calls and I mean, I can understand.
When I'm driving, I mean, it appears, unless you have a radar, drive 40 and see just look around and see what happens. You'll see very few people going over 40. Maybe it just seems faster. But we'll increase patrol and see what happens,
Thank you,
see if that helps it.
thank you.
I know, I agree with Carol, because I went 40 miles an hour today, and several times up and down that road, and nobody passed me on going north or south, so, you know, if you're doing 35 or 30, it might seem like they're speeding, but
Try it on the weekend and see what happens.
We do.
Okay, thank you.
okay, has anybody else got anything? Okay, open up to the public. Is there anybody out there that'd like to speak on anything? Troy?
Brought my little helper with me tonight. And this is my grandson Ryder. Everybody that knows me knows he's with me a lot. We have a friend that Vaughn Smith graduated a year after me. He's a good friend of mine in high school. His 7-year-old son, which is a twin, just came down with polycystic kidney and liver disease, and they're having a fundraiser on the 28th out at the Beaver Barn. Tickets are available at Reedman's, Dr. Christie's, and Benchmark Services. This disease is going to require that he has transplants of liver and kidneys. It's pretty rough on him having a twin that's healthy and he isn't. And I just wanted to get it out to you and kind of use a forum to get a plug in for it.
Well, if you give it to John, he can post it on
Yeah.
TV3.
Yeah, anything we could do to help. If you can't make the fundraiser, if you want to donate, well, I'm going to try to get a spot at the fair too. So,
Yeah, that's good.
and I got some extra for the crowd if they want. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Troy.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to publicly thank the people that was responsible for the Community Youth Day. I was there only for a short period of time for my little 5-year-old granddaughter. She got sick after the visit with the penguins. But there's a lot of people, different groups, that put a lot of effort and their time into this, along with some of our city employees, the police and that. And to a kid that's as young as my 8-year-old grandson, to climb in a police car or get into an Army vehicle or fire truck, that was a great thing for them. So publicly, I'd like to thank them.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
I like piggyback on that. My kids went to it and they had a great time, so. Very, very good time.
Okay, Bill, any more of the council got anything to say?
I'd like to say one thing. We have several restaurants and food venues opening here in our city in the next few months. And as far back as I can remember, I've heard people complain that there's no place to eat in Connersville, you've got to support these people who are coming in. You've got to go try them out. If you have, there are going to be adjustments when they first open. You have to give them time to settle in and get their act together. It's not going to be perfect for the first. Don't let one thing, and if there are comment cards and there's something you don't like, fill them out. Don't go talk to other people. Go to the person that can do the most about it. And fill out the comment cards because you're going to help them. And like I said, we've complained forever, and we've gone out of town. And I know it's going to be, it's going to take a little bit of a change, but you've got to change that mentality and stay in town and support these people that are coming in.
Okay, anybody got anything else?
Yeah, Fayette County Free Fair is in about 2 weeks, so.
Is that when you rest, Gabe? Is that when you get to rest?
No, I don't. No, sir. But we'll see you there at the fair.
Yeah. Great. Anybody got?
We should have a meeting at the fair.
Yeah, I've thought about that. Have the meeting at the fair. Of course, that's rough on John to bring all the equipment.
I think we should have a mayor's dump tank.
I like it.
That ain't gonna work.
I'll find the tank.
We have to work on that.
Okay, anybody got anything
Can I hear
else?
a motion?
Yeah, we can hear, do I hear a motion?
Out of order, out of order. Okay, anybody else got anything? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a motion second to adjourn. All in favor, signal by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, adjourn.